Think your lashes have hit their limit? Discover limitless length and full volume with Maybelline Sky High Mascara. The Flex Tower brush bends to volumize and extend every single lash from root to tip. And the lightweight bamboo-infused formula makes lashes feel weightless. Now in 8 bold shades so you can take your lashes to new heights every day. Visit Maybelline.com to shop Sky High Mascara now.
If you think it's too late to get strong, think again. Jenny Rappole survived a childhood bone disease, rebuilt her body from the ground up, and now coaches midlife women to do the same, starting exactly where they are. Her story will change how you see what's possible. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Barbara, and this is Age Better. Today's episode is one I've truly been looking forward to because it gets to the heart of something I hear from women all the time. How do I move forward when life hasn't been easy, when my body has changed, or when I feel like I've fallen behind? If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely in the right place. My guest, Jenny Rappole, understands this on a level most of us will never experience. She grew up with a degenerative bone disease that kept her in and out of hospitals and operating rooms throughout her entire childhood, an experience that could have defined her life. Instead, Jenny used it as a foundation for strength, resilience, and a career dedicated to helping women rediscover what they're really capable of. Today, she's a fitness and wellness coach, a mom, a wife, a powerful advocate for women's health, and thanks to a conversation I'll share in this episode, a newly appointed member of the board of the Bone Health Osteoporosis Foundation. Jenny believes in meeting women exactly where they are, not pushing them to perfection, not overwhelming them with rules, but helping them take the next right step towards strength, vitality, and confidence. And that's what we're talking about today. How to start, how to rebuild, how to move forward with clarity and purpose, no matter what life has thrown your way. Okay, everyone, get ready to age better. Hey, Jenny, welcome to Age Better.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I've been looking forward to this conversation because you are so motivational, and I follow you. I've been following you for a while, a couple of years on Instagram, and your wonderful newsletter, your email, very motivational. And I really like your message, especially for midlife women. So let's just get right to it. But let's start at the very beginning. So you had a degenerative bone disease since you were born, and you had multiple surgeries. Let's talk about that.
So strength, exercise, nutrition, they were not even part of my vocabulary for the first probably 30 years of my life. Late life is when I found those things. And part of that is because I had trouble walking, moving. My hip dysplasia was unique. It's when you hear hip dysplasia now, you think about maybe the child who had to be in, a diaper for like 5 weeks after they were born. Well, back in the 70s, early in the 70s, they didn't have the right things to fix it, especially if you were a military child. And so I had multiple surgeries, multiple infections, and would stay in hospital stays for long periods of time, come out, have a body cast, 7 months at a time. So multiple surgeries growing up. I lived this life in hospitals and didn't even know that kids played outside and did other things, right? That was just my life. Like I moved around on a little gurney when I was out. I was a smiley, happy kid, but very limited movement. Movement just wasn't part of my thing. So I had protective parents when I got to high school, and then went off to college, started exploring moving, but was always in pain, like bone to bone pain. And it really wasn't until after I had 3 children, which was just ironic, married and 3 kids, that the pain was so severe that I had a very early full hip replacement. Very unique to the average 29-year-olds don't get hip replacements unless they need it. And that hip replacement was life-changing. And when I say life-changing, I didn't realize that I had carried that much load and pain in my life for so long, right? And so I think that it almost was like a rebirth at age 30 of like, what does this no pain mean? I still walked with a limp. My legs were still different, but I was moving and shaking. Like the 30s for me was like, bring on the new stuff I could never do before. I'm going to run my first mile. I'm going to ride a bike. I'm going to do all these things that I wasn't able to do before. And it was a great lease on life. And then the 40s came, and that new wonderful part of being a woman came on, which is sort of the you can't just keep pushing and pushing and realizing that, you can only push so hard before you have to think about the other things that come into play in your life, like nutrition. And so that's really where I started to learn about, or wanting to really learn about my children being these little micro athletes that I never was, and then how to teach them. That's really where it started. But then it grew into this every woman my age kind of wanting to take my boot camps or do my fun fitness classes. And then that rolling into nutrition, like, what do we need to do next? And it's an evolution. It's never been the same. Every year, it's a little bit different. Every year, we get a little bit better. And I truly believe that's all because I was willing to start somewhere to make a change. And that's kind of how I got to this place, 15 years of coaching and teaching. But really, the last 5, when I started this midlife area that I'm in right now, and working with more women my age and realizing that optimal health, you can be 22 or 82, but it starts when you just decide you want to start. And you just start simple and small, and we find ways to navigate towards your best health. And it's different for everybody. Nobody's window looks the same, or nobody's whiteboard looks the same. Everybody's different inside.
So it sounds like the shift from really focusing on your own lifelong recovery, really, which is what it's been, to helping specifically midlife women really started to happen, as you said, when you were after this life-changing hip surgery, and then as you went through your 30s and your 40s, and you started to do more of that. So that's what also inspired you to become a fitness and wellness coach, and then move also not only into just moving your body in ways that will really benefit you in midlife, but also nutrition.
Yes. And I think too, the last 5 years, it's really been about, I want people to feel like there's a safe place with me, no matter what. Doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter how you move, doesn't matter if you can't move very well. We just start small. And I am your biggest fan because I've been there before. I've been there when I couldn't walk. I've been there in pain. I've been there with a big limp. I've been there with 2 different legs. I've got scars up the wazoo. So I feel like everybody's got a hidden story somewhere. They hold something. And I'm here to help you kind of unravel that with the magic of just starting small, starting where you are and just kind of nurturing it.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to point out, is that very often with your emails, your newsletters, and your Instagram, your wonderful Instagram posts, very motivating and engaging. So bravo to
Thank
you.
you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Is that you always get in that message. You start where you are. We're not looking for perfection. So talk to us a little bit about that, because I think people they might be looking at Instagram or TikTok or YouTube and seeing all of these people who are maybe way beyond them in terms of ability at the moment. And as you also pointed out, we're all different. We all have different physical histories and issues, maybe, or no issues. So let's talk about that. Start where you are. I think that's critical.
I think start where you are is really about purpose that gives you direction. And once you find that purpose, I find the women that come to me, they have a slow metabolism. or they have something going on, right? It might not look like my thing, right? It's their thing. So it could be metabolism, it could be weight gain, it could be sudden weight loss, it could be I haven't moved since I was an athlete back in high school. I just took care of kids for 30 years, you know? And I think it's about sort of stepping into the first acknowledgement that you have a purpose here in midlife that is the resilience you've built up to be able to raise a family and do all these hard things is your ability right now to be able to take a step forward and like start over if you want, whatever you want to call it. You're reinventing yourself right now, right? Maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe you're starting a new career. Maybe you want to get out of the career that you had before. But whatever it is, you're stepping into something new. And that new and exciting thing at this age feels like it has purpose because you can focus on that direction, wherever that direction is. Everybody's direction is different. Some people need to start with moving. Some people need to start with what's in their refrigerator. Some people need to start with how they're going to focus on sleep. Everybody's different where they need to start. And I find that I unravel that usually through a pretty lengthy assessment that I do with every new client that comes in. And through that assessment, we start somewhere for a week. And usually people will say to me, this has nothing, I just want to start moving. Wait, this has nothing to do with what I thought we'd be doing. And I'm like, but this is what you said was the biggest thing holding you back right now that bothers you the most, right? So let's dive in on that and nurture that for a little bit. Then as soon as they start sleeping better, then the next thing comes. They think about that first meal of the day. Then all of a sudden, they're a few pounds lighter and they're like, wait a minute, I feel like
And that's
taking a
motivating.
walk, right? They're motivated.
Yep.
But everybody's pattern is different. One doesn't come before the other.
Let me ask you something, Jenny. Do you find in your practice that it is better, that you've seen more benefit if you start with one, what I call foundational habits, if just start with that one, like I did at 50, when I kind of turned my physical wellness life around, as opposed to changing everything at one time, which can be overwhelming, right? What do you think?
I totally agree with that. And people will think that because they'll see my, arm muscles or they'll see me on a screen and they'll be like, she's been lifting weights all her life. Not true. Never lifted a weight.
You do look
until
great.
5 years ago. But I remember when I first lifted that weight and it was right before, it was like the year before COVID. So maybe it's been about 6 years. And when I lifted the first weight, I guess I should say I was a strength coach before. That doesn't mean I was a very good teacher, but I didn't practice that myself because I didn't think my body moved very well. So I was really good at telling and teaching people how to do it, but I wasn't practicing it myself. And that's a big thing, right? So it was my work, but it was not how I was living.
Okay, so why did you decide then, was it then that you decided I need to start, walking the walk?
Yes. I mean, let me be clear, I was very active. I was biking, I was swimming, I was fit. I just wasn't doing that part. I was maybe doing some push-ups and maybe doing whatever, but I never lifted a weight. And it wasn't, my doctor told me something very unique when I was 29 years old, that first surgery. He said afterwards, your recovery is going to take a full year. You're going to think I lengthened your leg too long. You're going to be in a wheelchair. You're going to be in all this. You're going to be in all these things that are going to make life difficult. He's like, and when you're done, the most important thing is that you don't gain a lot of weight. Because if you gain weight, your hips are going to feel that. And you're going to be right back here for a redo or whatever, right? And I took that seriously. But what that meant at 29 was so vastly different than what it meant at 45, right? And at 45, it was, I need to start doing something different because what I've been doing is not working. The cardio is not working. You can't outrun bad diet, all the things, right? That's what really impacted me. And when I started to lift weights, I literally would lift for about 5 minutes. I was like, that's it. I'm all done. I am so sore. I'd be sore the next day. And I say that because this is why I have these series the 1-minute moves, the 3-minute
Yep.
series, the 5-minute workouts. If somebody wants to sign up for 9 minutes, they can do that. I mean, this is why I really believe in the build out, because it's taken me a good 6 years to now feel very confident in lifting weights 4 times a week for 30 minutes. And I'm all about efficiency, but I like to do it. It feels good. I feel strong boned. I feel so much more confident in my body.
Let me ask you something about lifting weights. There are a lot of experts out there, medical experts in some cases,
Yeah.
who believe in lifting heavy, and that can be very intimidating to some women who have never lifted before, but are hearing a lot of chatter about it on social media and in some new books that have come out specifically geared to menopausal women. And so what's your view of, when you're coaching women in your practice about lifting heavy? Good, bad, building up to it, not that important? What?
I think it's awesome. And I think every woman should be doing it, and it's great, but you can't just start lifting heavy. You have to know that your body can do that, and you've got to work up to what you can
Start where you
start
are.
where you are. Exactly. And I do think that takes time. I also think, and it's really important to disclose this, my business is online, and that has given me a quality of life that is awesome because I can sort of take it with me anywhere, basically, which I love.
Yes.
But the downside is that I am on a screen to screen, and there will be people that will come in. And when I do an assessment for anybody who joins any of my classes, I do a full assessment. And my online assessment is, let's see you. Can you touch your toes? We go through a performance test for about 15 minutes. And if things look pretty good, like I can handle them on screen, then I know how to share what class they could go into online. But online's not for everyone. Sometimes I say you should go find a personal trainer at a gym and work with them for 6 to 8 weeks and get the basics down. Because again, the foundation is key. How well you do a squat, how well you do a deadlift. If you can press something over your head, all those things matter. Push and press, that all matters. And how you move is really important. And take it from me, I don't move very well compared to the world out there, but I am lightning warp speed ahead than I was 6 years ago. I had no idea that it would change me that much.
Isn't that incredible? Isn't that what you just said, that you're so far ahead at this age from where you were 6 years ago? And I think that's really remarkable. And I can really say that too in a lot of cases, certainly when I started running marathons. But you and I very quickly bonded over our love of bone health. We were introduced by a mutual friend. And when I was looking for someone to join the board of the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation, where I served on the board for, at that point, 10 years, and I had to get off the board.
Yeah.
There were bylaws and whatnot. And so now I I'm special advisor and overseeing our Be Bone Strong marathon teams around the world, but I'm no longer on the board. And so I just knew after speaking with you that you were the right person to talk with the board about your interest in bone health. And you had so much that you could contribute to the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation. So, of course, I'm so very happy that you did decide to join the board last year.
I'm so honored to have been asked.
Thank you again for that. But yeah, so that's been a wonderful passion. And so bone health clearly is a passion of yours. I mean, it's been a part, kind of bone health has been a focal point of yours your entire life. And certainly, as you just pointed out, that taking better care of your bones as you've gotten older has become an even bigger priority. I love also seeing your Instagram, and very recently, like just this week, Instagram post showing you, and with you talking about mobility in this case, which is, strength, mobility go hand in hand, but mobility and your ability to go to lower yourself down.
Yes.
And then get yourself back up again. And as you point out in this one, and as you sort of have been pointing out, that you've had a rough road. You've had a rough road your whole life with being mobile and building up your strength and moving. And And yet here you are. And I applaud you every time I see it. Go, yay,
Thank
Jenny!
you.
There you were. You're going down. You're getting up.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful showing your balance. And it's everybody. I am going to, in the show notes, put the Instagram, her Instagram handle, so you can start to follow Jenny.
Thank you.
For sure, you should. It's, like I said, very, very motivating. And you'll want to really follow her. And who knows, maybe you'll want to work with her as well, which would be really, really great. But yes, so all is well at the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation. I know you just had a board meeting. Yay on that. And lots of great new ideas are coming out of this terrific board, right?
Yes. And bone health is not abstract. It's personal. It's personal for you. It was personal for me. I
Very
think
much
that
so.
makes it much more invigorating to be part of the board right now. Being an advocate is one thing, but really being passionate about teaching people what they can do right now in their health. And I speak to, osteoporosis is not just something for women, it's for men too. And I think speaking into, strength is possible, health is possible at any age, optimal age, you can be healthy. So I think that's really important because how I'm speaking to my kids now about their health and their bone health is important, right? And just
Yeah.
like you said with the mobility, this is like a whole new level of what I'm learning about myself. And I am taking it into my practice in a transforming way through this constraint classes that I've been teaching, which is mobility work. And it is the best warm up before our resistance training, before, after, wherever you want to put it, the next day, however you want to put it in your practice, but just practicing how you're actually moving, thinking about how your feet are grounded, how your knee is moving, how your hip is moving. All those things are very important. So I think it just comes with this sort of beautiful part of life. Like people are so scared of their 50s. They shouldn't be. This midlife is so amazing and beautiful and can give us so much back when we can recognize the confidence we can find in it. And so I guess it looks like it doesn't have to look like lifting heavy weights. It can actually look like mobility work. Mobility work is strength work for your usable range of motion in your joints, right? That's strength. So I think it can look like a lot of different aspects when we say the word strength. And I think that's that.
What are some of the, Jenny, sorry to interrupt you, but what are some of the, do you think some of the most effective exercises that women in midlife can do, 50s, 60s, 70s, to help with their mobility? Like kind of the non-negotiable exercises that we should all be doing. I know we said early on that we're all different. And so maybe what you recommend to me to do every day and throughout the week in terms of exercise might be different than my friend. But in this case, there must be a few things that are really must-dos. What are they? A few, just like throw out one or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it like take a circumstance where if you were ever in that circumstance and you needed to either save a life or help your kids or do something, you would either need to push something, pull something, or push or pull something up from your body, right? So in my opinion, you need to know how to squat well. You need to be able to know how to push something over your head well and push your body weight away. So those can start very simple. You could start with 10 squats. If you don't do squats well, using a Swiss ball or using a wall where you can use the back against the wall to start, just to sort of keep your form and then progress from there, move away from the wall, then maybe add a band, then maybe add a resistance and do 10 of those a day. You probably would make a difference and feel a difference in a week or two. So I think a squat is good. I think a deadlift is important, but I think that is the one exercise that is extremely challenging to teach anyone how to do the same way. There's no one way to do a deadlift. You have to look at somebody's spine. You have to see if their lower thoracic is a lot different than their lumbar part of their spine. You have to look at how their hips and how they're working. So I would say the easiest way to do a deadlift is put your hands on a counter, step back from it, and stretch out your spine. So I believe in 10 squats a day, moving your body in that squat form that gets you in and out of car, keeps you very functional. Pushing your hands against in something in the kitchen where you step back and then stretch out your spine so you look like an L, like that. Yeah, and
Interesting.
just because it's a good stretch, right? You lean over one way, you lean over the other way. And then I would say the third one would be push-ups against a wall or pushing something away and practicing lifting something. I'm also a big fan, and I work with this a lot with women in their 50s and 60s, is balance. And balance looks like offset loads a lot. So we carry a weight here, we have one here. They might be different weights. Maybe we just have one and we hold our hand up, but we do a variety of exercises to always keep our imbalance off. That way, if you're out walking and some random dog comes up and you have to step off the curb real quick, you can handle that challenge, right?
One exercise that you kind of just described now, but you didn't call it by name, and that's the farmer's
Farmer's
carry.
carry. That's
I
one
just wrote a little article for AARP about it because I'm so intrigued by
Yeah,
it. And I mean, it's just like, I think the plank is such a great all body exercise to even helps with your blood pressure because it's, you're just holding everything tight and taut. But the farmer's carry is just a remarkable exercise that can also help with balance too. Talk to us about your thoughts on it.
well, and there's a difference in isometrics, right? Where an isometric is a
Yeah.
plank where you're just holding that body, and you're right. I love the May Plank Challenge. It's so great. And
Yeah, that was
every
great.
year
That
it's a
was
little new and
wonderful.
different, which is great, which is just a 30-day challenge of a 1-minute plank every day. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people just join on Instagram and watch what I do every day and follow along and do it. So it's great. It's a great way to engage a lot of people in an isometric. However, a carry, it's really about how you hold your rib cage, stack.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use your breath when you carry. It's completely postural, right? Which is
Yes.
awesome.
You can't let your shoulders go forward.
Right. But until you can get to a carry where you're holding something overhead, a great way to do it is to just, again, that L shape of lengthening the spine. When you just start safely lengthening spine, you can get into some better mobility work so you can get strong enough to carry something over your head. So, yeah,
Yeah,
so many
that's
good things.
wonderful. So, what about for so many good things to do? I know I don't want to overwhelm everyone, but that's why I just wanted to talk about a few things. But those are all easy. Squats, maybe do a little farmer's carry because that's my new obsession, everyone. I love doing farmer's
It's
carry. They're
great.
just great. And I do try, like, I built myself up to 75% of my body weight
Awesome.
divided by and I'm trying to go even more that divided in two, in each hand.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's really kind of fun, and it's fun too.
And people can start with just a band around one foot. When they do a farmer's carry, you hold a band and you stand like this with just your hand over your head, and you hold the band around your foot and you just step forward and back. So you're swinging your leg and you get the action of that contralateral move of your body pulling this way and going this way, right? And then you
Interesting.
can progress with that weight, right?
Yeah, I'm a big, big fan of bands. I mean, I just think there are so many things that you can do with them, and you can take them anywhere.
That's right. I travel with mine in my travel bag. It goes everywhere with me.
Easy on
Use
the
them. Yeah.
joints.
Use them in
Yeah.
the hotel
So
room.
let's talk about people listening in right now going, oh, God, I'm so far behind. I haven't, like you were saying earlier, I haven't done anything. I don't know why I keep putting it off. I'm really behind. How do I get started? What's the very first step that someone should take?
You don't ever start with the perfect schedule, the perfect day, the perfect time.
Yep.
It's never going to happen that way. You just lean in to a small little habit that you can do. People tend to get overwhelmed in what they think about first. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. They just listen to us talk about all these exercises, all these things. I have to. But maybe if you were listening, you heard one of the 4 exercises and you were like, I could do that. That's a good
Yeah.
place to start. Start with what you
Like the
already
farmer's
know how to
carry.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so get started with just that one thing. as we kind of said earlier, like that foundational habit. And then if it's working for you, don't you feel motivated then to do something else? Maybe add something?
That's right. That's exactly how it works. I mean, I haven't seen any negative from starting small. I see some who start too big. And with most clients, I try to work on bringing them back to say, we're just going to start small, keep nurturing, keep stoking that, like all that good you've got going on. Great. You did it for a week. Now let's add something else. And it's about adding quality to your life that I actually think helps you reinvent that midlife even better. Because you're just stacking those habits one after another. And what you have available to you right now is what you're more likely to do.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now let's talk about you as a midlife woman, as you were already describing yourself, but you are a coach, you're a mother, you're a wife, and I've seen from your Instagram posts that you're also a daughter of aging parents. So you've got it all going on, as so many of us do. You have a thriving business also. And so how do you juggle it all and still maintain time for yourself and don't let any one thing get out of balance? How do you maintain that balance?
Yeah, maintaining balance is not easy, right? It looks messy some days, but I think the biggest thing, I don't try to juggle everything. I've learned that that's just a disaster waiting to happen. I think of health as my anchor. It's the
Yeah.
one thing that's going to get me through every day. So every day, what does that look like today? Maybe it's, okay, I've got to be on screen for the next 3 hours. I'm going to take 2 minutes before each client gets on, and I'm going to just practice breathing because that's what I need today, right? And just that breath work, honestly, it works. It helps me reframe. It helps me set positive intention around my clients. And some days it might look like I need a workout today, right? And some days it might be I'm traveling, so I am going to bring my band and I'm going to do 1-minute moves with the board in the boardroom on the sun before lunch, right? No, I don't know. But, I think
That's
that's just,
great. Did you make everyone at the board meeting
no,
get
I
up and do some
tried,
stuff?
but no,
Oh, darn it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really could just
I
picture
know,
that.
right?
I love them all so much, and I could just see, like, they all need it. Everybody needs to move, especially when you've been
That's
sitting in a
right.
boardroom all
That's
day.
right. I'm trying. I'm working on that. I'm working on it. But I
Okay.
just think that, like, when you start to build your rituals into your day, you're more inclined to go after those same rituals over and over again. And repetition in this midlife is the best thing ever. People are like, it's so boring. It's not. It's what keeps you healthy in the general sense. And it allows you to be able to move and do the things that you want to do, right? I really truly think that's what it is. This midlife is so challenging because how we spent our days for so long, whether you were in your career, whether you were at home with your kids, wherever you were, you did it for so long. And then now it's this new season. And yet you're supposed to know all these things and you're moving to take care or you're helping your next generation and you're trying to still help your kids navigate their health. So where are
Yeah,
you in
that's right.
all of that?
That's
Where
right.
are you? And I think that's why you just got to start by saying, this is what I'm going to do this week. This is what I'm going to do this month. This is what I'm going to do next month, and keep it in small doses because it's more.
Yeah. You know what, Jenny? I'm a big believer in every part of life, not just about what it is we're talking about now, but I'm a big believer in reassessing where you are regularly and then tweaking. Because, especially I think at this age, we're at an age where
Yeah.
things
Oh,
change.
yeah.
And they can change rather quickly. I'm going to use myself as a very quick example. I started making all these big changes, like what we've been talking about when I turned 50. And I went, what? I better get cracking here. And anyway, kind of embarked on a wellness lifestyle, if you will, running and whatnot. But here, almost 20 years later, and I now have arthritis in my knee. You see what I mean? So things change. And so I realize I have to reassess all the time. Like I may not be running a marathon again. It's a reassessment and a tweaking. And then you can't just, so if you stop one thing because it's not comfortable anymore physically, maybe it's a little painful, then you have to tweak it and find something else to replace it. That's like kind of the danger zone is like, and that's a mental thing for me. I'm talking really about myself right now. It's like when you stop doing something because it's uncomfortable, then don't just stop doing anything. That's an easy trap. And so when that takes some mental, strength to pull yourself out and kind of like do the reassessment, tweak and go, okay, here's where I am now. This is my body now. Let's see what else I can do. If I can't do that, let's see what else I can do that's going to still achieve these wellness goals, right?
Yes,
Do you see
absolutely.
that a lot in your practice with the...
All the time. I would say every single client, every single one. It's like the track is right there and you're going and you're running the marathon and you're doing the thing. And then all of a sudden, bing, something happens. And so I think that part of what nutrition and exercise do together in a beautiful way is really create this symbiosis of understanding that when you get that, you want that more. And that's so exciting. But then you do it and then you hit a roadblock and you have to practice how you treat yourself in those roadblocks. You have to really practice that. And sometimes it's boundaries with yourself. Sometimes it's boundaries with the people that are around you. Sometimes it's boundaries with your environment. It can look different for everybody. And I will say that even for me, my story was that I went to in this functional range conditioning class in New York City last November. And I walked into the class. This was about mobility training. And I thought I was just going to be there to learn, okay, and take home and then teach. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was just going to up my game in my practice. This was for my clients, not for me. And I got there and boy, I had an eye-opening experience because one, most everybody was 20 years younger than me. Two, the teacher found me as a perfect example of how everybody in that class should go back to their rehab centers to teach because I was so wrong in the body, deformed. See how she's holding her upper body more than her legs and see how she can't do X. They were wonderful people, by the way. So I'm making it sound like they were awful. They were wonderful, but they kept using me as an example for a reason. I couldn't do what they were doing. So if you use somebody as an example that knows how to do everything, which is actually a lot of social media and Instagram, right? We see the person that can move their body perfectly and they can do all the things and they can eat all the right food and whatever. And then you see the person that actually can't do it. How do you teach that person, right? So what I learned coming out of that class was a lot of humbleness and a lot of, okay, I was used an example and I didn't like that uncomfortableness, but what can I learn from this and how can I get better from this? Because one of the things that doctor told me at the end was, you can keep doing your squats, and it's great that you've gained 30% range in your squat in the last 5 years, Jenny. I commend you for that. That's great. But at some point, if you're not doing the mobility work, you're going to come to a hard stop. And you can only get so much out of your usable range of motion if you are not working the joint capsule correctly. And that stuck with me oh man, I got to start all over again because that's how it kind of felt, right? I have to start all over again. And so that's the part that I find probably the most humbling about myself, right? Is that I feel like I'm starting over. And yet I've never been able to spread my toes flat on the ground. And I can do that. I have never been able to get my right knee down and left and up with my hands up. Never in my whole life. So to me, my milestones just in the last year of working on this, 1 year, little bits every day, has been just off the charts.
Oh my God, Jenny, that's incredible.
It is.
So you're a big believer in this. And what did you say it was called, the course that you...
It's functional range conditioning. So I'm a functional range conditioning specialist.
Okay. So now you're certified, you're a specialist, and this is what you are now teaching your clients.
Correct. It's just
That's
it isn't just
incredible.
another certification. I love to learn. So, certifications are kind of a funny thing, but that's just what I'm into. I'm like, I'm going to learn how to be more mobile. I'm going to learn that. I'm going to help my clients be more mobile. And that, once I started doing it, I've taken it into my practice. And I will say on a screen, I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to go down and we're going to sit on that ground. We're going to get comfy in a 90-90. You're going to see me use a block and a pad. And like I have all sorts of props, but I try to make everybody feel as comfortable as possible. And they do. I mean, people love my classes, which is great.
I wonder if you got any pushback about that in the beginning of people going, oh, I don't need to do that.
Oh,
Like that
yes.
kind of like, that's not lifting heavy. That's not doing the squats and everything. It's like, well, I don't need to do that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and guess
I
what's
bet.
happened? Every single one of the clients now that have been in the fall that is just finishing, they are noticing differences. They can feel it in their hips. They can feel it in their knees. They can feel it in their shoulders, places they were holding tension just by working through consistent movement patterns. It's called capsular articular rotations, but basically how you move your joint and how you practice that mobility work over and over and over in different ways. Sometimes hold a ball, sometimes hold your hand up, whatever. Just that practice over. At first, everybody's like, oh, this is so boring. But now, now that people are feeling the difference and it's making a difference in their quality of life, it's definitely improved. So it's fun.
That's
It's fun.
incredible. I really wish that more primary care physicians and the like, I know they have very limited time with their patients, of course, but would really focus more, especially those who are in midlife, to better prepare them for the later years. I saw a fascinating, I wonder if you saw it too, on 60 Minutes. I'm a
Yes.
big 60
Dr.
Minutes fan,
Tia.
as is everyone else in my age group. and and it was a few weeks ago with Dr.
Dr. Tia.
Peter Attia that you saw this, right? And how
Yeah.
really his whole focus was hey, everyone, you got to get yourself ready for that, what he calls the last decade of your life. Now, of course, none of us really know what that last decade is. We can surmise, but you know what I'm saying. But I think it's a brilliant idea, and it really, talk about having an impact, that really had an impact on me. I kind of was thinking about things a little bit differently, to the point where in a couple of weeks, well, just really 2 weeks after this airs, I'm turning 69. I myself can't believe it, but there you have it, which means I have one more year in my 60s before I turn 70. And just like when I turned 50, I was like, what? I want to be a great person in my 50s. Like, I want to be really ready. And that's when I wrote my first book and did all the research. I'm basically doing the same thing now. So for this, everyone listening in, are the first, and Jenny, you're the first to hear about this grand idea of mine. And it's not a book, but it's going to be like maybe once a month. I'll have, during the course of this 1 year until I hit 70 next December, I'm going to have some great expert on with me to get me ready
Great.
for this next decade. Now, I'm not saying it's my last decade.
No way. No way.
Let me be very clear about that. I'm just saying it's my next decade. And I want to be ready for it because I know how quickly our bodies can change.
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are.
Yeah, and I think that, Jenny, I have a feeling that, and this is why I brought it up, you are going to be on one of those episodes. We're going to be very specific about me getting Barbara ready for her 70th birthday.
I have no doubt in my mind that you can't do that. You are strong. You're empathetic to what you already know about yourself. Think about all the things you've learned about yourself over the last 20 years. How cool is that to go in to this next year with everything you already know and like kind of put it together in a really.
But knowing I have to reassess and tweak. And it might be some, little tweaks. It may not be any major tweaks at all. I might be like on the right path. I think I'm sort of am on the right path. I'm sure I could add a few more things like what you were just talking about. I think I need to add in more mobility stuff, and we will talk offline about that, about when you come back. And that's specifically what I'm going to want to talk about.
Yeah. And I love Dr. Attia. I have been listening to him for many, many years and have read his big old book, and there is a section in there about mobility as well. And he just has a great podcast, the way he speaks. And I love that I love how some doctors are really taking advantage of the space where they can kind of dumb everything down for us and let us know what's really important, right? And he does that well. Dr. Von der Wright does that well. There's so many great people out there.
She's been on the show too. I'd love to have him on the show, but I don't know. We'll see.
Keep working it. Keep working it.
Yeah. Just hey, I'll reach out and let's see. I'll say, Dr. Attia, help Barbara get to her 70s.
I love it.
Let's see. You never know, right? You never know. So, Jenny, this was a great conversation. I know that you will be back. There's no question about that. And just first tell us, I do want to ask you about your top 3 takeaways, but I really do want to know, and it will be in the show notes too, but how can everyone find you?
The best way to find me.
What's your website?
Website is my name. Pretty easy. JennyRappole.com. Pretty easy. And there's a form there you can fill out and just send me a message if you want to grab a call with me, if you want to try a class. I love that people will just say, hey, I saw this and I'd like to try one of your mobility classes or something like that. I'm always open to that. So the website is the best. You can also DM me through Instagram. I'm always open to messages in Instagram that's open to the public. So you can message me there. And those are the 2 best ways.
Great. And they'll be in the show notes. All of that will be in the show notes as well, everyone. And before we let you go, Jenny, and again, I know you'll be back, what are your 3 top takeaways you really want to make sure everyone remembers from this conversation today?
Number 1, first and foremost, most important, start where you are, make it doable because it will create momentum. That's number 1. Number 2, midlife is a reinvention. It's a beautiful, magical time. Don't let it hold you back. Don't be overwhelmed. Start small. It's available to you right now. And the last one I would say is one kept promise builds confidence. So pick one action and let it be enough. And keep it simple.
Yeah, perfect. And I just want to add one more.
Okay.
Do the farmer's carry. I had to get it in. Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
It's never too late.
Okay,
That's what
Jenny.
I would say. It's never too late. That's powerful.
It's never too late. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You are a lot of fun. Very motivating too. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode of Age Better Podcast, please do a few things. First, share it with all your friends and family. Then, subscribe to Age Better wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube, so you never miss a single episode. Finally, if you have ideas for topics you want me to cover in a future episode of Age Better, send an email to agebetterpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to me on social media. Until next time, remember this: we can't control getting older, but we can control how we do it. Talk to you soon. Age Better Podcast is a proud member of the Sound Advice Network. Sound Advice, women's voices amplified.